Hello and welcome to this chess video. I'm going to show you a game that I played in the Icelandic League over the weekend. The second part of the Icelandic League. It's played over two weekends every year. And very often it happens on my birthday, which is the 4th of March, which is today. If you want to guess my age in the comments, I've heard somewhere that my age is the answer to everything. So take a wild guess, but be nice, you know. I'm not 60, you know, come on. So yeah, I mean, I've had pleasant memories on my birthday, winning some Icelandic championships on my birthday. But this year, my team wasn't in contention. We simply couldn't keep up with some of the teams that brought in a lot of grandmasters. But it was a very even and exciting tournament. In the end, the club called the Vikings, the Viking Chess Club, won after a big fight with Hugin and Fjölnir. And my opponent in this game, Oliver Johannesson. In Iceland we have the naming convention that your last name is your father plus son. So I am Johannesson and he is Johannesson as well, which means both our fathers have the same name, Johannes. So white is me, Ingvar Johannesson, black is Oliver Johannesson. We're both FIDE masters. He's a very strong player. I think he should be an IM eventually. Maybe he hasn't. He's been focusing more on studies lately, but when he puts his effort into chess, he's a very good player. This game was sort of like an early birthday present because it was the London system, which I've been working on lately. Hopefully I'll have a new video soon, but this one definitely will inspire me to make more videos and finish the series. So I had the white pieces and d4, d5. A reminder that this was a game 90, so 90 minutes for the game, and you get 30 seconds for each move made, 30-second increment. So I'll play the London system. Bishop f4 is the preferred move order to avoid some systems in queen b6 lines, which we haven't covered yet on my channel, but we will. Knight to f6, e3, c5, and he goes for sort of the main recommended line to play for black, and incidentally the line that we covered in my first theory video on the London. So this happened, and of course I'll link to the video up here, so do check it out if you haven't, if you want to learn more about the London system. So that video is just about this position. So this is one of the main lines of the London, and since making the video I've been getting this position a lot on the internet. And I talked about in the video that we can play bishop d3 or bishop to b5. In the game I decided to go for bishop b5, which is more of a modern treatment of the London, and Magnus Carlsen has been playing this. And my opponent played knight e7, which is the most common move and the recommended move. And after bishop d3 he went b6, which however plays into white's hand, and we will have the move e4 here, which I explained in the video. And there are two games by Carlsen from this position, even three, not yet two. If you go back after bishop b5, of course we covered it in the theory video. There was a game where Carlsen took on c6. Well, maybe it was not exactly like that, but the idea there is to utilize the pin here on the pawn, and I just had a game online yesterday in this line. I won the pawn on c5. So the study is paying off, you know. Study the lines and quite often it will reap benefits. So e4, two games by Carlsen here, and Bosiosic took on e4. I think Korobov did as well. He took on g3 and played knight g6 at some point, probably here. Something like this, and knight to e5 should have been played, which we cover in the video, and this is a very difficult position already for black. Could have been d takes c5 also. But okay, back to our game. After b6 I played e4. He took, I took with a knight. And here he started thinking, and I took on e4. And I played all this relatively quickly. I did bluff a little bit before playing e4, spending like 2 minutes. Not to make him like super suspicious. Here the best move was knight d5, although white is doing quite well there. But he played rook b8 just like Bo Siosic did against Carlsen. Oh, yep. And I took on c5. And now we're just playing quickly because it's quite forcing and you don't really have a choice. He took on g3. Carlsen took on g3 with a pawn, but here you actually have two choices. I decided to go for queen takes d8. And I'll talk about both choices in the theory video. I took with the queen on d8 because I knew you will transpose after rook takes d8, hg, b takes c5, and then I take on h7, king f8, bishop back to c2. Rook h8 is an idea, and I will cover the pawn with bishop b3 if I need to. But he took on f2. He thought maybe I forgot something, and he took on f2. But taking on f2, I knew that that was a blunder, and that's why I went for queen takes d8, because it gives black the additional option. I took with the king, and now c6, and this threat of c7 is very hard to meet for black. He played knight d5, and I knew all this, and I had a massive time advantage at this stage, and I also knew that the evaluation was like +2. So knowing that gives you a lot of confidence. But perhaps I should have used my time a little bit here, because here I don't play the best move. I should have played, I took on d5 rather quickly, but I should have played rook a to d1. And the reason is black sort of doesn't have a move. I'm threatening to play c7 because now I pinned the knight and the rook is hanging. So c7 is a threat, and he kind of has to play the bishop to a6. And now I take. He takes, and I play rook d1. In the game, I took immediately so he could play bishop e6 here. But now he can't do that. He has to play something like rook d8. And now the difference is massive because, okay, I'm already threatening here to win the pawn. And it's very hard to do anything. Bishop b5, you lose control over c8, and I play c7. Then I take on d5. And it's just resignable. But I took on d5 quite quickly. He took with the rook, rook h to d1, and now king f8. And you see the difference. Now he can play bishop e6. But I do have like a beautiful position. This knight here on d4 cannot be unlodged, and it's dislodged. And I have a protected passer on c6. I have a feeling this should be strategically winning for white. But perhaps I was a little bit too careless, and I thought the position would basically just win by itself. I would just make natural moves, and eventually, you know, this pawn would decide the game. So okay, I thought first like a4 and b4, b5 would be a nice idea, just to fortify my pawn. And yeah, I can't be wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's not correct. Maybe at some stage I should try to play c4 at some stage to trade these pawns. I don't know. But okay, first rook d2. If I play b5, just prophylaxis, covering the second rank. So just making small moves, improving. And like I said, I thought just making these small improving moves that eventually it would even sort of win by itself. But okay, he defended well. He temporizes on the 8th rank. Okay, waiting for me to do something. And my first idea was to bring the king over here, not to concede the a file. He played rook a8, so I thought he wants to have the rook on the a file once I play b5. So I wanted to contest that. So that was my first idea. But it's not committal. Like, I can always change my mind. So I was a little bit playing also on my time advantage. So, you know, because he always has to worry about threats. So he was getting down on the clock. Rook f2, just temporizing. h3, not allowing the bishop to come here. I thought this wasn't harming my position in any way. Rook c8, rook a2, rook a8. And here I played rook a3. My initial idea was to play b5. And I wanted to take on a3 with the king, so that I have king b4 next move. Just to stop king c5. So for an example, he played g5 in the game. And here I changed my mind. You see, if I played b5, which was sort of my initial idea, I didn't really see how to break through. The bishop goes back to c8. He is covering the pawn, and his king stands tremendously well. And at the moment, my king isn't entering anywhere. So he can even something like this. He can even just start liquidating the pawns on the king side, and I'm not sure this is winning. It might be, but computer doesn't seem to think so. So not seeing anything, I played rook a1, and I started to bring my king over just to contest his pawns. I saw that he was starting to push b5 now, and bishop c8, and here again I played rook b1 rather quickly. So sort of the second moment where I should have used my time better, because there is some tension, and if you look at the forcing moves, I should have found a5. And the idea is just a breakthrough. I mean, if he takes b6, b7, game over, and I'm threatening to take. Should have found this. But I played rook b1, and now he played a5. Computer seems to think that there's almost no way through if he takes on b5. The difference between playing a5 and a takes b5 is that he kind of loses a tempo, because after a5 it's my move, but after he takes on b5, no, I'm completely talking out of my ass. But why does it prefer? Yeah, maybe it's so let's see a natural continuation like f4. I can't use the a file, that's the thing, you know, the a file opens, but I can't use it. And compared to the game, I have to spend the move on the king here, because if I go to the h file now, he just plays f3, and I'm even risking losing, because this is coming, and all of a sudden the bishop is here. So I'm not sure why the computer prefers a5 here. Maybe it's because the pawn of b5 would be easier to pick up than the pawn on a4. I don't know, because the evaluation is better for white after a5. I play king d3. Okay, similar to what we just looked at. But now my king is better positioned, and perhaps he shouldn't have played g4. Okay, it's probably still a draw. He played rook f7. If he plays f3, I bring my king, but he can probably draw with this idea. I take and bishop to d1, because he's getting this. And in all these endgames, his king is very well placed, because it takes me such a long time to, you know, get around, and you know, I have to get my king here for my pass pawn to do something, and then he can just put his king on c7. So f3 would have drawn, most likely. But rook f7, I play check, king c7, bring my king, gives me a check. And of course I had to calculate that this would be okay, which it is. And also here he played rook a3, and I played rook f6. And here he again misses a chance. He could have played g3. I play king f1, he plays rook to e4, protecting the pawn, and it's hard for me to improve the king. I thought in such a situation I could play knight to e2, attack the pawn. But he has a nice resource. He can play f3. This is the only move that draws. If he takes on a4, I take the pawn, and you know, threaten this. All of a sudden his king starts to feel the heat. But going back, he can play f3, the only move that draws, and a very nice move. The thing is, if I take with a pawn, he plays g2. I can't take because my knight hanging, and even if I don't take, he takes on e2 anyway, and I lose. So I would have to take with the rook. Then he can take on a4, and now it's different, because if I play like in the other line with knight to f4, he has check and bishop g4 picking up my rook because of the pin. So I would actually have to take on g3, but now he's getting counterplay, attacking my pawn, and this is not enough. So I was fortunate here, he played rook e4 instead, and now I thought after rook f8, and again he was getting very low on the clock, and that probably helped me. It's kind of a zugzwang now. If he plays g3, now I can put the king up. The difference, if he plays g3 with a rook on e3, I have to go here, but now I can go here. Rook e3, at least take the pawn, and I'm moving in. So he played king b8, g3 probably a better move, and now my knight gets in, and now it's just deadly. The knight is coming to d6, rook check, and he has to go to b8. If he goes to d8, it's mate in 2, check, and check while covering the rook, and that's checkmate. So he has to go to b8, and now c7 check, king a7, otherwise there was a fork on everything. I play knight d6 anyway, and after g2 check, king f1, my opponent resigned. So yeah, very satisfying win to get to have the opening preparation pay off in such a nice way. Not general opening preparation. I couldn't really prepare for this game. I didn't know who I would face. Maybe I could have, you know, had like 1 or 2 hours, but I didn't really spend any time. I knew I had the white pieces. I knew I was going to play d4, and just trusting on my knowledge, and in this case it paid off. I did, however, you know, miss 2 chances for a clear win, which was not very good. Especially here, I should have spent more time, because this was sort of the first moment in the game where I'm playing my own move. I knew up to this position, and not to find the best move after that is not very good, because it's very logical, you know, to not allow him to get the best defensive setup with bishop to e6. Afterwards it's logical, but you know, also the position where I could have played a5, I should find. But other than that, the endgame turned out to be more difficult than I thought after bishop takes d5, and this endgame where he got his king to d6 eventually here. It looks very aesthetically pleasing for white. You have this great knight, you have a passed pawn, but it's sort of like the principle of one weakness. I need to create another weakness. This reminds me a little bit of the game Capablanca's endgame. I think it's Floor against Capablanca, where Capablanca had this isolated pawn. He had the bishop against the knight, and he just placed his pawns on black squares here and here, I think, and played f6, and white just kind of had this one weakness and couldn't break through. And this is sort of similar in that way. I need to create another weakness, and it was perhaps my fortune that he in the end he opened the h file and did something, because I wasn't really finding a plan to win. So yeah, still a satisfying win against the FIDE master, and finally I'm gaining some rating again. I've been losing, you know, a few points here and there, so it's nice to get back on track. And yeah, that was my birthday gift, my birthday video. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.